Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq. My name's Dom. That is my good friend Kyle. We are Clover Trading. This is Good Morning Nasdaq. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. We had some football on. Also did some family Christmas stuff. It is Christmas week. Merry Christmas to all you Christmas people out there. That is Wednesday, tomorrow Christmas Eve. Kyle, why don't you do a quick rundown of the schedule of the stock market over the next 5 days, and then we'll tell them our schedule for the next 5 days.
So obviously today is a normal day. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, so it is a half day, meaning instead of a 4 p.m. close, the stock market closes at 1 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific time for you Pacific coasters. So 3 hours shorter than normal. Obviously then on Christmas we have completely off. The market's not open, so if you show up to YouTube on Wednesday morning, you'll be left with disappointment. We won't be there. Thursday and Friday are then right back on schedule. Normal days, the 26th and 27th. You think there'd be more holidays? Nope. We're right back to it. So that is the schedule for this week.
And as far as what we do, let's just figure it out on the fly. We'll be here today and tomorrow. Wednesday we'll be off. I'll be traveling Thursday, but if you're around and you can run it, Kyle, I can be there Thursday, Friday.
Okay. Probably can do that.
So we'll plan on just Wednesday being off. No live trading this week. And keep it as usual. Keep it as usual. Today, though, is the 23rd day of December, year of our Lord 2024. Last, I guess, full-ish week of the year. We already got done with the last full week of the year. But we're running low on days left, and then it's 2025. Usually my favorite time of the trading season is just that transition from one year to the next, whether it was a forgettable year or an unforgettable year. Just, ready to do it all over again. That's the fun thing about this is it's just like it restarts. We all have numbers from the beginning of our career till now, but there's always things we want to tweak, get better at. There's things we learned throughout the years or things we've seen that we didn't see in previous years. And it's exciting to go through your numbers, go through your stats, go through your plans, and get ready for the upcoming new season, the new season of your career. Kind of exciting. So I hope you guys are doing all that as well. We'll be posting content in Clover Trading as well on all that stuff in terms of recaps and outlooks. So if you're looking to join that, clovertrain.io. If you're just here for the YouTube, the free fun, make sure you hit subscribe. It doesn't sign you up for anything. You won't even know it's there. You'll just, you'll be subscribed. We'll know and we'll be happy. Hit that thumbs up button. Looks like it's going to be maybe a little less people this week. We'll see if people are out and about and traveling. But we got more gappers. We got a couple 100% gappers this morning. I see 4 now.
We do.
So we'll run through those. Sweet. Any extra questions you guys have, feel free. Get over there in the YouTube live chat. Ask any tickers you have questions on, any comments, no concerns, as always. We don't take those here on this morning show. Please send those directly to Huddie. And let's have a great, fantastic Christmas week. Any advice before we kick this off, Kyle? Last weekish of the year, whether you're having a great week or a poor week, how you kind of approach this week?
This week will feel different because it is just a holiday week, and it's the last week that everyone acknowledges of 2025. But the reality is the market doesn't really care, and it's just another week. So I wouldn't go and change anything. Your stats don't change, your edge doesn't change, at least maybe this short term. It's just another week, right? I don't need to trade bigger to make my year end on a good note. I don't need to trade less to make my year end on a good note. We're just going to keep rolling as we've always been rolling. And then come January 1st, we will keep rolling as we've always been rolling. There's no changes or deviations. And keep that in mind, right? It's just the structure of time is just in our minds. The market doesn't care. The market's going to keep trading how it normally trades. No need to push size or scale back or do whatever you got to do just because it's, 2024 is coming to an end, right? And keep that in mind going into this last week.
So you don't think the market has a conscious mind?
No.
Aware of Christmas?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Good thing to note. Write that down. We're going to head on over to the first gapper of the day, RELI, which is, as you guys all know, Reliance Global Group. A 1.6 million float. Seemed to be pretty low floats across the board this morning for most of the gappers. Let's see if we have news and catalysts. Those are always fun. The Reliance Global Group, reflects on a transformative year and looks ahead to 2025. All right. So everything we just did, they've done it as well. And that warrants a 220% gap up this morning. Overall risk is medium. Historically, they've been high. Offering ability is low. They got 10 months of cash left. Not registered. Bless me. Thank you guys so much.
Bless you.
Where are we at? We're at $4. Oh, I gotta do it again. Do you see anything in this dilution, Kyle?
No, I don't know. Between the dilution and the daily chart, I tried to look because I recognize the ticker. Like really, I'm like, oh really? Like it's like one I immediately popped up in my head. I'm like, oh, I know this ticker. And then I pulled up the daily chart and I'm like, I don't recognize this daily chart at all. Like, did I miss a run? Did I like? I feel like this was one we.
It too.
I just don't know why. I don't know why. There's like nothing about the daily chart that I really significantly like acknowledge as like, oh yeah, I remember this move exactly. I look at the daily chart. I'm like, I don't. This is not like. I don't remember a thing about this daily chart. So I don't know why I know this ticker, but for some reason I do. Maybe you can jog my memory. I don't know why you know it either.
It looks like a couple one-day moves, and that was it. So
yeah, I feel like I would remember something more significant than just a one and done kind of day. But here we are. So
yeah, within the last year, 2024 is where all the magic has happened. Pretty much just one giant spike on OK volume, 23 million, but on like what, an average of $12 a share. Pretty good dollar volume. Had a pretty big morning spike and ended up closing right at the lows before heading lower to where we are now over the past several months, gapping up into the high threes right now, up 223%. Gappers as a whole weren't that strong towards the later half of last week, so we'll see if that momentum carries into this week. I feel like kind of anti what Kyle was just saying. A lot of us tend to look at holiday weeks and we think too much. We think more about like, let's find the Santa runner. Shorts are going to get squeezed on the gappers. Like less volume equals this. But in general, this is just a chart that I would be more bearish on. History of failure, even if it did spike out of the gate, maybe if that's something that you track in your bull, that's something to think about. But there is some prior resistance. The stock has been super weak. We're already doing a lot more volume than that previous run, so maybe we get a different result. But yeah, this is your biggest gap of the day. Low float. News is kind of bleh. It's way off its highs right now from pre-market. We'll see what it offers this morning. Do you have anything different?
no, nothing to add. I'm still perplexed why I remember it so well, but I don't remember the move. I just remember the ticker, the name. I'm like, At first I thought it was a China pump, but then I look at the chart. I'm like, I don't really see any of that. So
Wasn't there one last week where I like knew my size? Yeah, I remember I knew it, but
don't know why. Right? Yeah. But yeah, we'll just treat it the same as any other gapper.
Well, that is your biggest gap of the day. The second biggest gap of the day is TRAW. Why is the name of this company so weird?
Troz Pharma.
Trosfinated? Is that like a typo? That doesn't look like a word.
I know. No,
if anyone knows how to say this, maybe put it in those special words like in the dictionary that make you understand how it's said. It looks to me like Trosfinated. Double D. Float is 2.94 million is what I have. Wow, they rewrote it in here. It's an antiviral drug development company. Let's see if they have any news. 2 hours ago, they announced the progress in developing Tivoxavir marboxil for H5N1 bird flu. Okay.
Lovely.
Is there something going on in West Side or something? I thought I heard something over the weekend or last week about state of emergency for something. Is that it? Is it bird flu? I
did not hear any of that, so I'm out of the loop.
Okay, maybe the chat will fill us in. I thought I saw a headline of something like that. Overall risk is high. Offering ability is medium. They have negative 0.9 months of cash left. Some old warrants, higher prices. They got a 2021 ATM that has $6 million left on it. Okay. what did I say? 2.94 million float. Higher price stocks. This is up and coming from the 5s as high as the 16s this AM. As we go further back on the daily chart, really is nothing to write home about. There's a stock that just kind of does its thing, trades, fades, or is grinding up for portions of the year. And today's kind of day one of some increased volume on the daily chart. Only done 6 million today, and it's the biggest one on the chart here in the last 2 years. So I don't put too much weight into this prior resistance just because this volume today is so much more. Like as I go through here, you can see 1 to 5,000, mostly 1,000 shares traded per day, and we've already traded 6 million. So I care more about today's price action. Up 120% right now, kind of mid-range in between the highs and lows of the pre-market. But when I see these daily charts that have just less structure, less history, less big resistance, less big days of volume, it's hard to guess what it's going to do or where it's going to top out, where it's going to struggle. And you kind of just got to trust that it being up a lot is going to be hard to sustain. What do you have to add here on TRAW?
Yeah, nothing special. It is a weird kind of taker, but yeah, today is really the first day I would argue anyone has ever paid attention to it, given the history of the volume, like you just really mentioned. The lack of cash is concerning. However, when we looked at it, they don't really have any dilution. The only active dilution it looks like is that ATM, and it's from years ago. So, I mean, I don't really, it's one thing to see how much cash they need on hand, but then it's another to actually know the inside of the company and be like, how dire are they really? What are their options? And obviously, just us as retail are never going to really know the really nitty gritty of it. But if they could, I think they would use that ATM. And I would imagine if they have access to it, which they do, it's just 2 years old. It's like, why would they have waited this long? But then again, they might have been waiting for a day with a bunch of volume, and today would be that day. So from a long perspective, it definitely would be concerning in the fact if they're going to take advantage of that, given that they need cash now, then that would be something to be worryful of, which I would be personally. So
you're not going to be worryful, are you?
Well, I won't have to because I'm not going to look to long it, but
Yeah, so there's a couple of people talking about it. There is some severe cases of bird flu going on in the United States. So we got maybe some little hot sector starting. We'll see what TRAW can do. It's in their headline. We'll see if any other tickers have that as well, or how severe this is. Kind of after COVID, I feel like will never be a run like that no matter how bad the news is. But maybe there would be if something was really bad. But even monkeypox was pretty short-lived. We got some good plays out of it. But so just keep that in the back of your mind. Catalyst is important. I know a lot of the stocks we've seen recently have had no news or no catalyst. But sometimes catalysts do have more staying power than others. So super low float here in the bird flu world. That is TRAW. Really don't like it. It just doesn't roll off the tongue well. TRAW. All right. Next biggest gapper of the day, up over 100% as well, is BP. GT Biopharma. 2.03 million float in the biotech industry. I'm looking at who they are, what they're all about. I don't see any news for them besides earnings a month ago. They are overall risk is medium, offering ability is low, but cash need is high. As they only have 2.8 months of cash left. They have some May warrants at an exercise price of 4.35, which is a little bit higher than where we are right now.
Yeah, it's just there in pre-market.
And that's about it for GT Biopharma. Let's take a look at this daily chart here and go back a little bit. Looks to have been a pretty significant gapper earlier this year. Gap towards 8, spiked into the 11 area, came back down, closed right around where it opened, and then has thus started its fade to where it has been now, which is sub 180 there, before being as high as 6 this morning. So you clearly have this resistance on pretty massive volume. Whereas the other chart we're talking about, today's volume was overwhelming the previous run. In this case, the previous run's volume is overwhelming where we're at this morning. Already kind of a wick to the sky and back down towards reality. So you probably do have some bag holders. A lot of range here for us to the 11s. Hard to predict exactly where it would find difficulty or trouble going higher. but it's already rejected somewhat this morning and still up 116%. Kyle?
This is another one. I do think I remember that run earlier in, April, May, whenever it was. May. Because I recognize this ticker as well. It's like, oh, I've seen this one before. Similar to TRAW, where no serious dilution, but they do need cash. So I don't know if they. I mean, little. I can't prove it, but I know some companies will short their own stock with the money they have left. I can't prove that this is the case, but that's just another dynamic that would concern me. Of like they need cash, they got to figure out how they're going to make that happen. One thing I will say though, the last 30 minutes, the volume has just like disappeared, and price action's been pretty much sideways between a 5 to 10 cent range for the last 30 minutes. I don't know.
It's lost all volatility.
They're just kind of it's like I call it the leave it for dead look, right? Like a lot of volatility in pre-market early, but then once like whatever happens, and the crowd kind of leaves and no one cares anymore until another big move happens. Like that's what this looks like so far. It's just volatility left off, and so did the volume. So something will have to change to be interesting, short or long, right? This could just do nothing and watch paint dry all day. So I just want to, if I'm going to trade, I want to make sure that's actually going to have some moves and some volatility and volume come back in. So.
Okay. That is GTBP, obviously, right? Obviously. How's everyone doing this morning? Over 116. So people are trading this morning. We got 38 likes. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. It really does help the channel in ways that we will never know. But management knows, and they want us to get to 50 likes. Let's see what we got going before we hit our last gap or two. Someone says it's chilly out, 2 degrees. It's chilly by me. Kyle's probably at 70 degrees right now.
It's I think it's like high 50s, low 60s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You better get your snowsuits out, your big coats.
I stand corrected. It's 49, but the high today will be 69.
Oh, nice.
So,
are you a puffer jacket kind of guy?
Not really.
Okay,
no.
yeah, you definitely have one. Emilio says, Kyle, you interested in QBT, QBTS bounce shorts?
I am. However, I'm not in a rush. I just
because of what Riggity's doing.
Yeah, that's why I'm not in a rush. The sector is. This was my fear, was that come Monday these were just going to be insanely strong. They were super choppy on the front side. It might take just as long. It
might be another front side.
Yeah, it just might take longer than people expect for these to finally roll over, if not at all. I mean, yeah, I think RGTI is the best fundamentally of the three, so it makes sense that this is back. But just the fact that this is back to highs doesn't make me feel good for the short idea of any other ticker in this sector, right? Like,
looks scary.
It clearly says, hey, the Momo might not be done. Hopefully, it's done for. I guess I should say hopefully. There's a world where it could break out and then realize, hey, there's not enough that strength as we thought, and then it does die. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like I need to see a lot more failure to really be convinced, because right now these look like they might just bounce back straight to highs. QUBT the least likely, but
no, you go.
I was just like QUBT looks the least likely just because it has the most range to get there. But even again. I would never say never, we'll have to find out.
Yeah, I made a note to myself at the end of last week after we had successfully gotten our money back on the shorts, was like, don't be too quick to like jump back in these things for any little bounce back, and on Friday I only traded a half day, but like as they were bouncing back, I was just like, these feel like the type of slow-moving stocks that will have a significant bounce over time, that I don't need to necessarily nitpick any little spike into the mid-range. And, something like RGTI, that could very easily, I think, separate on its own in a world where everyone had that idea and they thought this was a better situation because it was so much more weak on the backside when they all started. And now the bounce short is kind of turning into a breakout, and you're kind of like, I wasn't really trying to risk the highs, but here we are at the highs.
Yeah.
And, I could see that. I mean, that has been an annoying ticker from the start on this one. So wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of get out of control. But you never know. This week we could see. It would not shock me in the slightest to see these quantum stocks break out again. Soon was up there yesterday too. That's up near the highs. They're all flirting around. I mean, you kind of got to look at them as a basket, and you got to think if we had big breakouts across the board, that at least QUBT and QBTS would follow a bit. But like you said, I think QUBT is mistakenly looked at like the more real one because of the higher price, but it is a turd.
Yeah.
Very turdy, if you will. Right? Any other questions here? Sean says top watch is TNXP gap down. Over 73, I think, sends it eventually. Trading insane volume. That was one that last week there was a lot of attention on. I don't know if Kyle still has his swing short. Unless
I do.
You do have, okay.
I do, yep.
TNXP, yep, volume quite good there as well. Nice little multi-day action. Kind of getting to where I would stop watching, though, just for me as a person of who I am as me. I always want to say P. Diddy. P. Daddy Slim. How did you do on Dom? How'd you do on the long side of these quantum names? Piss pull. I'd have to add it all up. I guarantee I'm red on them. I did really well on Soon on the first breakout, this one. And then from there, I fudged lost on this breakout here because I got up at 4 a.m. to sell for a loss. Lost an RGTI breakout. Didn't play the QUBT, QBTS breakouts that happened the same day that I lost. They got me good. Didn't like them. But there was probably a lot of people who did really, really well in them if you just shut your eyes and played the patterns. Moritz has a question that I'm going to direct to Kyle. How is it physically possible that TRAW with such a low float can be easy to borrow?
I question the same thing. I think it's a low float. Some places say it's a low float, but then some places say it's like a 3 mil versus like sub mil, which doesn't sound like a big difference, but in terms of like I would say like the back end of how much borrows they can lend out, I think that is a big difference. But it's a great question. I couldn't answer it for you. I don't know. I wish I knew.
Someone smart made the decision.
Yeah, because I agree. It does make it a little bit. Makes your head spin just a little bit. It's like, that's the last ticker you'd think would be easy to borrow, but here we are. Yeah, like I couldn't answer for you. I don't know. I'm in the boat with you.
You guys are in the boat, but do you have paddles?
No.
Yeah,
I got none.
Okay.
We're just floating along here on that question.
Bless you. All right. Well, it is 9:17. We told you guys the schedule for the week. We'll probably most likely be here every single day except for Christmas on Wednesday. Half day tomorrow. Make sure you remember that one. Then just business as usual on Thursday and Friday. Really appreciate you guys being here on this fun old holiday week. We're happy to be here and wrap up 2024 with you. Hope you guys have had a great year, at least learned something from all the content we put out, and had a good laugh or two with us along the way as well. We hope to continue doing that in the new year as well. Thank you, Kyle, for being here. Thank you guys, for being such a great and amazing community here on YouTube. And we'll be back tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. for another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq. And all you Clovers, we will see you in the room right